Hi there, I'm Tuğçe Koçoğlu-Hobden, founder of Coaching with Heart and Purpose and host of Light Conversations. I'm a certified transformational coach. I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher, and I hold a BA honours degree in communication and psychology. I like to consider myself as a bit of an alchemist and an explorer, blending the power of transformational coaching with the science, wisdom, and technology of Kundalini. These are two really powerful technologies that facilitate the development process of awareness, growth, and change on a deep and long-lasting level. By working in partnership with my clients in a collaborative process, I support them to heal, release past wounds, find emotional balance, overcome embedded patterns, subconscious blocks, and habits that no longer serve them, empowering them to rewrite their own scripts and to become the authors of their lives. I also teach clients automatic writing, helping them to turn journaling into channeling by connecting with their inner wisdom or their inner power or guides and angels, depending on their beliefs, and to receive guidance and guidance on everyday challenges. I'm also the host of Light Conversations, where I get to interview the most amazing, inspiring, heart-centered leaders who do extraordinary work. They range from health and wellness experts to spiritual leaders, healers, light workers, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders, all of whom are doing amazing work, making a positive impact and raising the consciousness and the vibration of the planet. I hope to encourage and inspire others to find their own unique light within, to take courage when they feel fear, and to know that even the smallest shifts can have a profound impact. My coaching style and teaching style is compassionate, non-judgmental, and sprinkled with just the right amount of challenge. I encourage those who work with me to take aligned action, to step out of their comfort zone and get comfortable with the discomfort, because growth periods can be uncomfortable, right? And also to allow for moments of stillness within for mind, body, and soul to integrate, because this is where the alchemy happens. As well as running my own business, I am a mother I'm married and mother to two beautiful children, and I volunteer as a soccer coach to my daughter's under 10s soccer team, because I truly believe that soccer needs an injection of feminine energy. I also enjoy painting, running, taking walks in the woods behind our house as a family, and reading. I also enjoy working with dragon energy. In particular, I'm connecting really well. I'm particularly connecting with the dragons of Pleiades, and also reading my oracle cards. But I've not always been in my divine flow. So before entering this chapter of my life, I spent 18 years working in global media planning, leading teams for many Fortune 100 tech companies, such as HP Inc., Vodafone, Sony Consumer Electronics, and Apple. In my last role, I was a successful executive director, leading a team of 25 people across 40 plus countries in Europe, Middle East, and Africa. It sounded great on paper, right? But I was permanently exhausted. I was overweight, unhealthy, and deeply unhappy inside. Although I wore a mask, and although on the outside I wore a mask and pretended that life was great, and that in itself was very exhausting. So over the years, I suffered from anxiety, stress, and depression, and took medication on and off. I was living in a very reactive state. I was in a state of dis-ease, so the total opposite of our baseline state of ease. And I was burnt out. My feminine energy was completely out of balance. Working in corporate industries can often influence our masculine energy, which I also believe is one of our challenges that women have in causing many women to burn out in corporate industries. I desperately tried to control everything that was going on in my life that I could. And just to ease that pain and compensate for the lack of control that I had in my inner world, along with also many emotional dealings from my past I was struggling to resolve. My way of dealing with it was to push it out the way and continue doing and being very busy. I was completely lost, and I was ignoring all signs and synchronicities that were being dropped into me as little messages. And I became someone I just didn't even recognize. I stopped listening to my inner wisdom, and those gentle messages and synchronicities slowly started getting louder and louder until they were really knocking at my door in the form of sickness. So this is when I finally woke up. Although it wasn't dramatic like many awakenings that you hear about, it was more like a little gentle prod and nudge. It was after one of my operations. I was sitting on a sofa just watching the clouds pass on the skylight above me. And this operation was one I'd been putting off for many years, obviously, because I'd been putting everyone else's needs ahead of my own. And I was contemplating or reflecting at how so many areas in my life had, yes, improved. There were so many positive things that had happened in the last 10 years. But I noticed that many areas, particularly in my development, hadn't grown. I was stuck on this corporate hamster wheel, and I just had no idea how to get off of it. The analogy I'm going to use is like being a football on a football pitch, right? I was the football. I was being, my life was being directed by anything else, just but myself. It was being kicked around from here to there, and I had no control of it. And in order to regain control, I would have to take that step back and be the player on the pitch and not the football. So I'd conform to life, like many of us do, to what we think society expects of us. For me, this meant following a path that took me away from my purpose and disconnected me from my soul and from source. I reflected to my childhood, where I was way more connected to my inner power and to source. Growing up, I was a Carl Gustav Jung loving, tarot and Turkish coffee reading, astrology curious, psychology literate, 13-year-old. My interests probably were not what normal 13-year-olds were interested in at the time. But all those things gave me so much joy, and I felt so aligned to my inner wisdom, and I felt like I was on this path of self-discovery. But as I grew, I conformed. As I sat there contemplating this and reflecting, I realized that none of this had anything to do with my career, but had everything to do with me. I had stopped living my life and was living in this fear. This fear held me back so much that I became stuck, and it was like moving through treacle. I could barely move. And I was terrified of the financial impact that leaving my job would have. I now understand that this fear was my brain trying to keep me safe. And then I realized that this was exactly what I needed to do in order to start living my life. I'd have to go through this uncomfortable stage, go through this unknown. And, growth is uncomfortable, like I've said. But the more we are aware of it, I guess it becomes a bit more bearable. And at the time, I had no idea what was going to happen. But I knew I just had to follow my purpose. I had to reconnect with my soul and become the empowered creator and author of my life that I knew I was destined to be, like we're all destined to be. In that stillness, I listened to my inner wisdom for the first time in a long time, and I asked myself, what would life look like if I took this new path? So I imagined a life where I was living my life on purpose. I was running my own business. I was in alignment with my highest good and my values. And I was serving people. I was serving people and making a positive impact on this planet. So for the first time, fear gave way to hope, and hope led to courage, and courage led to faith. And at that moment, my heart swelled with joy, filled with so much joy, and that I knew that I knew what I had to do. As Albert Einstein once said, today's imagination is tomorrow's reality. So this is how I began to get back into my divine flow. I left my corporate job, which was terrifying, and I enrolled onto a transformational coaching course. And at the time, I had no idea what transformational coaching was and why I was enrolling onto it, because I was going to become a corporate coach because I'd been in corporate for so many years. That's how my brain was working. But something, my inner voice again, my heart and my gut were telling me that transformational coaching was where I had to go. So slowly, as I was reconnecting to my inner GPS, I kind of went with it. I had some doubt because I'd been ignoring it for so long, but it felt right. And this connection was getting stronger, so I had to trust it. And then this beautiful opportunity a year later arose to do a teacher training course in Kundalini Yoga. Again, this time it was much stronger. My gut and my heart were shouting, yes, you are doing this. And this time, as my connection had become a lot stronger, I've been building this muscle. I was, yeah, I'm doing it. I don't quite understand the connection as yet, but I'm doing it. And it totally felt right. And this is this beautiful dance of life where, I was relearning that surrendering to it and to let it unfold. This doesn't mean not taking responsibility or action. It's that, is super important, and we must be responsible. We must take action. But it just means being flexible sometimes about the steps to how we get to the overall outcome or our overall goal. They might be different to how we thought they were going to be. And then when COVID-19 hit last year and we entered our first lockdown, light conversations dropped in. It was a seed, and now it's, I've filmed 12 or so episodes. But at the time, it took me about 12 months to even get my photograph onto my website. So the fact that, I was thinking about doing a video was quite new to me. It was definitely another thing that was out of my comfort zone and something I'd never even considered. Along the way, I've worked with some fantastic coaches and healers and teachers who have really helped me with my growth. I've invested in myself with the courses as well. And this has really helped me with my growth and expansion. I also believe that blending Kundalini Yoga and transformational coaching has accelerated my growth and expansion exponentially. Kundalini Yoga is the yoga of awareness. It gives you the exact tools needed to attain consciousness. Transformational coaching facilitates awareness and growth. And we always have a clear outcome, and we have to take action. And yoga means to unite. Do you see where I'm getting to? So both transformational coaching and Kundalini Yoga teaches us that everyone has the potential to be the master, the guru, the creator, the star of our own show. I will also add that automatic writing will also help us to receive daily guidance on any of those challenges that might be occurring in our day-to-day. And this is how the divine has been flowing through me. Now, building our awareness is like building any muscle. It takes practice, right? Being elevated in our consciousness and our awareness doesn't mean we're not going to come up to any obstacles or challenges, right? It doesn't mean they're all going to disappear. We're not going to become yogis living, or hermits living in a cave in the middle of nowhere. That's not our 3D physical reality. This is, in this world, we will come up against obstacles and challenges, but it's how we manage these encounters that will lead us to living fulfilled lives. And this is what I help people with. Now, life isn't a linear process. We will always encounter problems or challenges and obstacles, as I just said. If we think about life as a river, right, it meanders, it ebbs and flows, and it comes downstream, and then it has to go back up. And if we think about the ocean that the river is trying to get to as our goal or our destiny, it could be our ocean of destiny or our ocean of goals. And along our way, as we meander down the river, there will be the odd tree, there will be the odd rock, there will be currents. Let's imagine ourselves as we flow down and we encounter these challenges that are going to slow us down, these obstacles. We navigate around these rocks to determine how we get to our ocean of destiny. For example, if we suddenly decide that we're going to fight against the rocks, we're not going to move out the way, but we're going to try and push through them, right? We're going to crash. We're going to hurt the boat, hurt the ship, whatever we're floating in, and we're going to have to pick ourselves up again and start again. However, if we use the wind, we put our sails up and use the winds to navigate with and help us to go around the rocks or around the tree, and we go tactfully around it. That is how we will flow through. And it might take us a little bit longer, but it will be done with less resistance and with more ease. And so this is how we use our emotions as tools rather than using the emotions as weapons. By using the wind as a tool, we are using it to help us get through and not as seeing it as a weapon. And going back to the football analogy, this is how we become the player on the pitch that I was talking about. And then eventually we won't just be the player on the pitch, we will become the pitch itself. But let's start firstly with our breath. In yoga, we call it prana. You might have heard it called chi or life force or the force. But it is the most important place we start. In Kundalini Yoga, it is said that to control the breath is to control your life. So to control the breath is to control your life. Breath work can also clear the subconscious mind, which is where many patterns and habits are embedded. We're all born breathing in the right way, but somewhere along the line, we unlearn to breathe. And I don't know about you, but I grew up in the 80s and it was all about sucking your tummy in, walking around like, not really breathing at all and holding the tummy in because you could, heaven forbid, you might look like you've got a belly. My mother used to think that was awful. So we would often suck our breath in, and for many other reasons, possibly, we stopped breathing, or many of us stopped breathing in the right way. And this is completely normal, it seems. Although I was in a yoga class many years ago, and when the teacher told me this, I was mortified. I was thinking, oh my goodness, I'm breathing the wrong way. I must be the only one. So I ran back home and I checked on, I Googled it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I'm breathing the wrong way. However, over the last years, I talked to people about Kundalini, and it turns out that 90% of us are breathing the wrong way. So it's kind of my mission, one of my missions, to tell everyone and share with everyone how we should be breathing. Because like I said, if we can control the breath, it is to control our life. And also when we breathe from this from this paradoxical breathing, it's called, from the chest, it activates our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight, flight, and freeze response. So that is obviously not a good way to be breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing, however, or belly breathing, is when we push the belly out on the inhale. I'll talk about it a little bit more later. But diaphragmatic breathing is what activates our parasympathetic nervous system, which induces a state of calm and relaxation and helps us to fully oxygenate the lungs, increasing the lungs from 15% to 30%. This also engages the vagus nerve, and this is the main component of the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's a truly remarkable nerve, right? It connects the 3 neurological centers, so our head, heart, and guts, and as well as other vital organs. And the vagus word comes from the Latin vagus, meaning vagrant. So it literally wanders from the brain down to the other vital organs and the neurological centers. And it is also the portal to connectivity and oneness. And in this place of calm and relaxation and connected perspective, we can begin to observe life holistically, and as all areas of life are intrinsically connected. And from here, we can start evaluating our values, so many of which are not even our own. They're handed down from parents, from society, from school teachers, or religions, our ancestors even. And when we consciously reevaluate our values, we begin to realign with our purpose. This is why in Kundalini yoga, there are so many kriyas, which are a set of or a sequence of movements or postures that start with the Sufi grind or asanas that have used the pelvic bowl. The pelvic bowl is the place of our purpose. So we are entering a really exciting time, or we have entered a very exciting time. It's, we're creating a new paradigm, and we're shifting from the age of Pisces, from the structures of the patriarchy, to the age of Aquarius, where the divine feminine and the divine masculine will become into balance. The time of the pedestalic era is over. So in Kundalini, we talk a lot about being our own gurus, our own masters. And in coaching, we talk about it as being the authors of our lives, and the stars of our own shows. This is the era where we raise our Kundalini light force, which is our awareness. We take responsibility over our actions, our emotions, and our behaviors. And we begin to live in heart-centered, compassionate, community-driven, and solution-focused ways, which work for all those involved. This is why I love blending the ancient science of Kundalini in the work that I do. The asanas or poses, or the postures as they're also called, are put into a sequence. This is called a kriya, the whole sequence of postures. And these are designed to support specific glands, organs, and tissues, or a specific challenge you may have. So, for example, there is a kriya for clarity and circulation, or a kriya for expanding our aura. These kriyas also work on our metaphysical bodies as well, so our chakra system, as well as the subtle bodies. Through movement, Kundalini technology helps the Kundalini light force to rise up through the central channel known as the Sushumna. Unlike Hatha or Hatha Vinyasa yoga, where movements tend to flow, Kundalini technology can be quite repetitive and mechanical. So it's very, very repetitive, and you'll be doing the same asana for several minutes. But it is the end result that is so profound. The asanas and postures are designed to stimulate specific glands and organs to secrete the proteins, hormones, lipids, peptides, which create the blood chemistry in our body. This blood chemistry controls what is known as emotions, moods, attitudes, and eventually thoughts. So knowing we have this capability to create healthy and balanced blood chemistry, which affects our emotions, moods, attitudes, and eventually thoughts through stimulating the systems of glands and organs, I mean, how empowering is that? This is how we use emotions as tools, not as weapons. And this is how we no longer become slaves to these emotions, our thoughts, and how we become the masters of them. I also want to briefly talk through sound and mantra, because again, this was an area that I was probably quite terrified of when I first started Kundalini. But it was also an area I knew I had to work on. The throat chakra had always been quite a challenge for me. And sound is an incredibly healing tool, and it also helps to raise our awareness. In fact, our own voice is one of the most healing tools that we have, and it can also release the control of the reticular formation, which is the most primitive part of our brain, which is loaded with instinctual responses from our ancestors. There is also this beautiful sub form of Kundalini yoga called Nad yoga, and Nad is the science of sound and mantra. The reason I bring this up is because the metabolic process of life takes place in the thyroid and the parathyroid. These glands metabolize hard metals such as calcium and magnesium. And if we think about it, for millennia, women and the divine energy has been suppressed by the patriarchy. It is no coincidence that so many women have osteoporosis issues. So it's particularly important, I think, for women to strengthen these glands and organs and to use their voice through mantra, chanting, or affirmations, as a strong voice and a strong vocal attitude also produces a strong skeleton. Our voices are unique to us, just like our fingerprints and our irises. And when we find our voice, we empower our life. Now, briefly, I'll talk you through 3 of the neurological centers, because again, this is something that is really important in our current paradigm. And as we're entering the age of Aquarius and this new paradigm, we need to be able to look at these 3 neurological centers and align them. Now, the head brain is the most developed, right? And it's been the most developed over the last 125,000 years. It's our 2-dimensional, analytical, yes, no, right, wrong, good, bad brain. And that's how we look at things. It's very much in that polarity. And it also focuses on individual achievement and has become more valued than connection. Then there is our 3rd-dimensional gut brain, right? So this is our 3rd neurological center. And it developed millions of years ago, but it's been used far less, especially since the head brain took over and evolved a lot quicker. This is what makes us form working groups. It's what helps us survive in community and what nourishes us. Then there is our 4th-dimensional heart brain. This is the next in line to evolve. And this is about advanced compassion, circulation of wealth, and openness. This is the first organ in the body to be produced in the body, and it is also the last one to retire when we die. For us to step into the 5th dimension, we need all these 3 neurological centers to be aligned and functioning with equal emphasis for us to fulfill our path of mastery. The 2D head brain, the 3D gut brain, and the 4D heart brain. This is the path to the 5th dimension. So I'd like to now demonstrate for you a short asana and breath work that I'd like to invite you to join me and do. Now, you can use this any time of the day, and it could be when you're looking for a solution to a challenge that you've had. This can help you tap into new perspectives. As Einstein once said, we can't create solutions from the same energy we created them. This is why I recommend doing this, and also for doing it for 3 minutes. In yogic technology, there's a reason why we do things for a specific number of minutes, and I won't go through them right now. But yeah, for 3 minutes, 11 minutes, 22 minutes, they all have an impact on us physiologically as well as metaphysiologically. And so if you have any medical conditions, I would say please seek the advice of your medical practitioner. So as mentioned earlier, to control your breath is to control your life. But at some time in our lifetime, we forgot how to breathe. So before we go into the full pranayama and asana, I'd like you to just do some belly breathing with me. So this is belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. I invite you to place your hand on your belly. I'll get up for this. Place the hand on the belly. And we're going to inhale and push the belly out. Exhale, push the belly back in towards the line. Inhale, pushing the belly out. Exhale, pressing the belly back towards the line. Inhale, belly out. Inhale, belly in. And just continue with that. Inhale, belly out. Exhale, belly back in. So that's diaphragmatic breathing or belly breathing. And now we have that sorted. We can continue asana and pranayama. And it's also a great one to use if you're having trouble sleeping, because you don't really have to do anything. You can just lie there, place your hand on your belly, and just focus on the breath. Belly, inhale, belly out, exhale, belly in. So we are going to add in some mudras here as well. So we're going to I just want to explain first of all why we do this, because this affects our left channel as well as our right channel. I mentioned earlier about the central channel being the Sushumna or Shushmana, which is where the Kundalini rises. So the left side of our body or our left channel is called the Ida. The right channel is called the Pingala. Now the left channel is represents our feminine. It represents intention, our yin, moon, and receptive and caring energy. The right side of our body, the Pingala, the Pingala channel, represents masculine, yang, sun projecting, and also sharing energy. It also represents motivation. So left is intention, right is motivation. Left is feminine, right is masculine. So we want these to be in balance. And this particular asana, pranayama, will activate the central nervous system, will deactivate the central nervous system and activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So we're going to come into horse stance. So I'll come up with you. And although you can't see my feet, my feet are wider than shoulder width apart, and I'm going to bend my knees. So this is coming into horse stance. So bend the knees so that the knees are over your toes. The reason why we come into this pose is because you can rest for a moment while I explain it, is by putting pressure onto our thighs, we are effectively producing more red blood cells to carry to our tissues. In our femurs, in the thighs, is where we have our bone marrow. So that's what produces the active, more red more active red blood cells to carry that oxygen through to our tissues. So coming back into horse stance, and then begin to tap your sternum. This is what activates the vagus nerve. And then what we'll do is block, using our thumb, the right side. So we're going to inhale through the left. And as we inhale, not forgetting to push the belly out. Exhale through both nostrils, pushing the belly back in. And then you can pause and then inhale, again, blocking the left nostril, the Ida, inhaling through the right and pushing the belly out on the inhale. And release the hand. You can hold for a moment and then exhale, pushing the belly back in and continuing to tap the vagus nerve. So this activation of the vagus nerve also sets into motion the position to be able to see the opportunities that are available to us at every given moment. Yogis say that every present moment there are 8.4 million thoughts available to us at each moment. And this is why we call the present moment the present, right? Because it's a gift. So let's do this asana together now for 1 minute. I'll set the timer. So keep tapping. You're in horse stance, so feet shoulder width or wider apart, knees over your feet, blocking the right nostril, tapping the sternum, and now inhale. Exhale and push the belly out, push the belly back. Inhale, blocking the left nostril, pushing the belly out. And exhale, pushing the belly back in. Inhale, pushing the belly out, blocking the right nostril. Exhale through both nostrils, pushing the belly back in. Inhale through the right nostril, pushing the belly out, and exhale, pushing the belly back in. So I invite you to use this pranayama with this asana every time you're looking for new solutions, a new perspective, or some clarity to a situation. I work with people who are looking to either get unstuck in life or in business, or people who are looking to reimagine themselves or reinvent themselves, connect with their higher self, looking for clarity on their next steps, leading authentically and confidently, and to be the master of your world. You can work with me in energetic containers on a one-to-one basis. I offer various packages or programs designed to suit different investment needs, but also with an option to upgrade to the next program. So I do 3-month program, a 6-month program, 3-month program, and 2-month program. I also do group programs which are 8 weeks long and also 4 weeks, and also one-off programs or workshops. I've worked with some really amazing people and had some really great results with them. One client came to me feeling unfulfilled, suffering from inertia. She thought she'd completely lost her identity after having children. She took my 3-month program and went on a journey of self-discovery and became someone who is anxiety-free and understands now what makes them feel happy, fulfilled, and confident enough to make the changes needed in their life and to take action. Another client was having a really tough year in a new job as part of a leadership team, and she was firefighting with her emotions and also how she reacted with her colleagues. We recognized that she didn't feel worthy enough to be in this leadership position. So she stepped out of her comfort zone, and we used affirmations and automatic writing and mantra to heal and empower her voice. She was soon able to master her emotions and use her voice as a very powerful tool to become an empowered and effective speaker. She is now thriving in her leadership role. And one other client came to me looking to grow her physiotherapy business, and she was in a state of absolute exhaustion, running around trying to please everyone in her life. She had no boundaries and she had no balance and she lacked boundaries. At the end of her 3-month program, she was able to say no to commitments that were not aligned. She created new habits, positive habits, and was able to spend more time with her family and do the things that brought her joy. She's now thriving, and so is her family, and so is her physiotherapy business. The last thing I would like to share with you today is my 40-day challenge. This is a powerful Kriya meditation that enhances mental health and really has a positive impact on our cognitive health. Kirtan Kriya is the name of this meditation. And if we do it for 12 minutes daily, we will see huge improvements in our mental clarity, our memory, and focus and concentration. There was a study group that involved participants who did this for 8 weeks for 12 minutes, experienced 50% improvement in their memory power and also an overall increase in mental clarity. There's tons of research on Kirtan Kriya, and the Alzheimer's Association and Dementia Societies have done so much research in this, and I really encourage you to Google it and just have a read of what's out there on this amazing meditation. Guru Singh, who I studied with, has personally been involved in some of these scientific researches in an MRI machine where they look at how the brain lights up when doing the meditation. This meditation also includes mudra, hand movements, as well as chanting. So it really is activating so many parts of our physiology. So to start, we are going to be chanting Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. So Sa is the infinity, cosmos, and beginning. Ta, life and existence. Na, death and change and transformation. Ma, rebirth. So it's Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And the mudras to go with each word. We'll start with Guyan Mudra. So Sa, thumb and index fingers touching. Ta, thumb and middle fingers touching. Na, thumb and ring finger touching. Ma, thumb and pinkies touching. And what we'll do is we chant Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. And we do that for 2 minutes in that loud voice. We then chant in a whisper, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, for another 2 minutes. We then chant mentally, so silently in our heads, for 4 minutes. Because what we do 2 and then another 2 and then we go backwards. And then after 4 minutes, we go back to 2 minutes of whisper, Sa, Ta, Na, Ma, and then another 2 minutes of Sa, Ta, Na, Ma in our normal loud voice. So that's an overall of 12 minutes. And like I said, this meditation has been studied in so much depth, and it has so many huge benefits proven by science on our cognitive health. So I really invite you to join this 40-day challenge. It's on you can join my free Facebook private group page, and or you could do it on your own. I have a PDF accompaniment with it, so you could do it in your own time, however you like. You can write some notes on it, and just love to have your feedback on this and see how you feel once you've done this 40-day practice for 40 days straight. So doing a 40-day challenge has scientific benefits behind it. In Kundalini, there's 40-day practices, 90-day practices, 120-day practices, and 1,000-day practices, and each have a significant physiological meaning behind them. So a 40-day straight will break any negative habits that block you from the expansion possible through the kriyas or mantras. And we do it for 12 minutes, or it's because of the timings, it's 12 minutes, but normally a meditation is 11 minutes in Kundalini, and that helps us begins to change the nerves and the glandular systems. Earlier, when we did the pranayama with the asana, we did that for we said we'd do it for 3 minutes. Now, 3 minutes also affects the electromagnetic field, so our aura, the circulation, and also the stability of blood chemistry, which is why we were in horse stance. So that really helps with that. And if you want to find out anything more about me, you can find me on www.coachingwithheartandpurpose.com. You can email me on hello@coachingwithheartandpurpose.co.uk. You can find me on Facebook, my Facebook page, which is Facebook Coaching with Heart and Purpose, and Instagram coaching_heart_purpose, and LinkedIn. You can find me under Tuğçe Koçoğlu-Hobden on LinkedIn as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed talking to you and creating this, and I hope to see you soon. Satnam.